Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Morning, everybody. It's Friday. Happy Friday. I'm here on the Starship Interpoop on my Star Trek. Welcome to the show that lasts long as my coffee. This is going to be an all-day Star Trek excursion. We're going to do the morning show on Star Trek. We're going to be talking about classic Trek, however you want to phrase it, TOS. When Keith and I say Star Trek, we mean Star Trek, the original series. We don't emphasize, it's sort of like when I say Star Wars, if I just say the word Star Wars, I mean the very first movie ever made was called Star Wars, because that's what it was called. And it's the same thing with Star Trek. When you say Star Trek, I think, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley, and the rest of the day workers that were on the show. I can't remember their names. I'm kidding. I know them. I'm just being a dick because they took advantage. They took advantage of William Shatner and talked shit about him and built up a horrible reputation for that man because he was busy working while they were showing up at conventions. Keith and I have talked about this. That is where the Shatner hate began. What do we got there? Oh, yep, I have that.
This is the second copy I've ever owned in my life. I owned one of the originals that had all the plastic binder that it was in and all of it. It was amazing.
Gerry, to be absolutely fair, there was a point when Bill Shatner stepped on his dick big time in front of the fans. That was at a Star Trek convention where everybody was going crazy, and he told them, later he said it was a joke, but he told them, get a life. Now you got to admit
that's the thing they did on Saturday Night Live too. Get a life. And he learned to regret doing that. But now he, like Nimoy did, owns that he was Kirk. He was Kirk. By the way, here's my phaser. Mine fully functions, and on top of that, mine separates. I can actually have the handheld phaser or the full phaser. The thing's got some cool sound effects. It's got little buttons on it.
You mean like this? You can have phasers? Yeah.
Fuck you. I'll fucking remove it. I swear to God, if I break this thing. I forget how to take this thing out.
Photon torpedoes now armed. Firing. To press another launch button, just say, open Star Trek Trivia.
And I have my classic communicator.
Ah.
I actually have the wristband communicator from Wrath of Khan, too. Khan! I see everybody's here. Let me say good morning to everybody. And by the way, if you didn't notice, that's Don Ecker down in the bottom corner. That's Peter. That's the Peter Brady corner, right?
That's the Miss Bailey corner.
Miss Bailey. And that's your puppy. Look at her. She's such a sweetheart. Gap After Dark was here before everybody. He was camping out like me when I went to see Empire Strikes Back. All my friends were so excited. They were going to go beat me to the theater, and they found me there with a pup tent and a fucking sleeping bag. And I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm first. First in line up for Empire Strikes Back. Star Trek, yep. Oh my God. How much?
This is Gene Roddenberry's.
Well, see,
life
you
story.
have some of the books I don't have. Like you have Herbert Arsolo's book, and I don't have that one. But I had all this stuff from Denise and Michael Okuda's Concordance. I had the book by B. Joe Trimble, Betty Joe,
on
Betty
the
Joe.
on the Good Ship Enterprise.
Yeah, I was Kirk. See, yeah, because like back when he was still trying to be an actor, you know, he was not Spock, and then once he was living on his laurels, he realized, oh, I am Spock. All right, who's got their speaker going, motherfucker? Living on his laurels, he stops wolfing. Oh, I am Spock. All right, who's got their speaker going, motherfucker? Muted, motherfucker. Good morning, Gap After Dark. D. Bud Martin, good Friday. Happy Friday. Penny, good morning. D. Don Ecker, who's on the show now. Anima, good morning. Socks is here, good morning. Monkey Jeebus, hello, Monkey Jeebus. Thank you, come again. I got to enjoy being on last night with my good friend Zach's Kyle. It was a lot of fun celebrating. I got to be there for an hour and a half, then I had to split to do this shit, that little intro that you saw. Dr. Dragon, Socks Bulletins. Dork Night. Okay, we're tired of talking about you. How's Danny? Is he okay? How about showing up on the show and letting us know, motherfucker? Let's see. Six is here. Good morning, Six. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you.
I've got that too. I've got that one.
It's about 40 years old.
Dragon Ruse.
Oh,
Good morning,
ouch.
Dragon Ruse. Let's see who. Oh, man, you guys have been commenting. Peter Vinkman fan said good morning. Kingsport Cal in the house. All right, there. We got a good portion of the crew. We're about 8 below normal. They'll get here.
One way or another.
It's a lovely Friday. Preparing for the weekend. We are going to be doing Star Trek all day today. We're going to do this show, Star Trek, and then TGIF when it starts at 2 o'clock Central Time. It will also be about Star Trek. And when I say Star Trek, I mean William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley, and the rest of the day workers. Again, I'm dissing them because they dissed Shatner for years. So I'm giving them a little taste of their own fucking medicine. Because that's all they were, day workers. That's what they got paid. Remember that? That's why people are like, why does Uhura or Sulu or other characters only appear in some episodes and in some episodes they're not there? That's because they got their hours. Day workers were only allowed so many hours. They weren't the stars of the fucking show. But they sure like to put up a stink about things and talk shit about Shatner. And Shatner understood that show is a Western and it needed its main cowboy. He understood how that worked. And they didn't like that. And that's tough fucking shit.
Well, and that's really how television shows were structured, at least prior to the early to mid 1970s. You had to have a lead actor. All TV shows had a lead. I don't care what.
That's right.
TV
And the
show
first
you're talking
conflict with that was between him and Nimoy. Because Nimoy was kind of given the idea, and I think that they fucked up with that because they could have lost Nimoy over that.
Yeah.
They gave him the idea that he was going to be the main lead. So he thought he had the lead, and so he ran into conflict with Shatner, and then they they kind of went to the principal and going, which one of us has the lead? And they went, Bill Shatner has the lead. And then they were good after that. And then they became best friends. And they really were. Good morning, Rough Girl. If I didn't say already, good morning, Peter Vickman fan site. And I saw somebody else slip in. Who did I see slip in? Thought I saw someone else. Let me just go over here and look in his list. Rough Girl, Peter Vickman, Kingsbrook. No, I got everybody. Oh, Alex Moore. Alex Moore snuck in. There you go. So, good morning, Alex Moore. So, let's get into some classic Star Trek. I really wanted to get into this today. I'm so into it, I gave my new background to be the bridge. And if you can't hear, I have the sound of the warp engine, the way it vibrates through the entire ship, and the sound of the bridge, because it helps with getting us in the mood. Shatner was the there we go. Shatner was the captain, of course. He was the lead, just like Gilligan was the star of Gilligan's Island. But wouldn't the captain also be the star of Gilligan's Island? Because if we're saying captain, hey Skipper.
Yeah, look, there were a lot of television shows, and the majority of them were mainly westerns. So, I mean, if you're talking Tarzan...
I think Rough Girl is coming on to me with that comment. You open the... Just fucking go ahead and leave it. There you go. Don't let Keith rate it, Martin.
What?
She says you open the door, I'm sliding in. I don't know if that's a backdoor reference. I think she's talking about pegging me. No.
That'll be a pass.
Yeah. I don't want to say hard pass, but I'm going to say hard pass.
Wow.
But let's get into this, Keith. Let's get into some history. Let's start talking about the formation and creation of the series, which is Gene Roddenberry had been doing a lot of episodic television, and it even had the semi-success of one show, The Lieutenant.
Yeah, that was the show that he was doing prior to Star Trek.
And it is also the show where he really kind of developed a relationship with some of the supporting actors that would appear.
Supporting actors and supporting staff.
Yeah, and so he would steal them for Star Trek, and you would have Nimoy, Gary Lockwood, Shatner, what's his name? Jimmy Doohan. And Jimmy Doohan and he were already friends.
Yes.
Whenever, because he owned a yacht, not, Jimmy, but I just forgot his name. Gene Roddenberry owned his own yacht. And I think he had like a 40-foot yacht. It was a schooner.
I think so. I think it was a schooner.
I think it was a 40-foot schooner. And Jimmy knew how to sail. And so he would many times just sort of relax on the deck and let Jimmy Doohan do all the sailing. And so they had that bond, that friendship of hanging out together on weekends and shit. And he had this idea for a show that was a Western in space because he liked science fiction.
Yeah.
And you want to take over on this part?
Well, he was developing some of that while he was working on his show, The Lieutenant.
The Lieutenant. And
he was working with Samuel Peoples, who was also on the show. And it was his assistant who, I think it was DC Fontana, was his assistant on the show.
Magitech, you can join us if you want.
And so he was developing Star Trek, which was a much different show than the one that we've come to know. He had all these ideas, and part of it because of movies like Forbidden Planet, part of it because of a movie and a series of books by H.M. Forster, which is Horatio Hornblower, which if you've seen the movie, a lot of the interpersonal relationships, especially between Kirk Spock and McCoy. You see that in the Horatio Hornblower film and in the books. But Samuel Peoples was an important person in that he helped Roddenberry hone a lot of the different things that Star Trek eventually became known for. He looked over everything, and Roddenberry had completed his work on writing The Cage, which they eventually got around to filming that pilot. And
which is, just to remind you, as the original pilot, it was rejected by network heads, executives, not by Desilu. It was rejected by the network because it was too cerebral.
Yeah, it was very cerebral.
Hold on, again, I'm running a show here.
Okay,
I gotta say hi to people. Good morning, Destiny Captain Christopher Carroll. Good morning, and of course, Magitech Mags. Like I said, the invite is in the group. If you need me to send it again, or if you need Martin to send it, say so, because we'd like to have you join. I had a fun time with her last night. She was a blast. I need to boot up my computer. One moment, Gerry. All right, fine. That's my impression of her, even though she has a prettier voice than me. So she'll be joining us shortly. Dawn, because I was 4 when Star Trek was on, and I remember it. You were a young man. Some of that was in Vietnam, but did you get to watch any of the Star Trek between 66 and 68?
No, actually, I knew it was on, but instead of watching that, and I don't know why, I watched Combat. Okay.
No, that's a show, dude. That's a
I was watching Combat. It wasn't until after I got back from the Army, and I was living down in State College, PA with Penn State University, that I started watching it in reruns, and that's when I got hooked. It was after they put it in. Well, did they even call it syndication then?
Yes. Well, what happened was it was just called reruns at that point. I don't know if they called it syndication yet. I don't think syndication came up until mid to late.
Actually, 70s. Yeah, they did call it syndication because it was all part of your contract.
Yeah, because once again, Desilu was ahead of the game, specifically Desi Arnaz. CBS didn't even know what the fuck a rerun was, and he came to him saying, "Well, we want the rights to the." Oh wait, you do it, Martin. We want the rights to the rerun. Say that.
What?
Say we want the rights to the rerun.
We want the rights for the reruns.
Thank you very much. That's pretty much how it probably sounded when Desi said it to the network heads.
Yeah, he was that smart. He was the business, and Lucy was the talent.
God, yeah, shit, man, that motherfucker. But she also knew magic, and she definitely personally was a person that supported Star Trek from the early stages. She saw how interesting that was. Now there's truth to that.
There is some truth to that, but here's another little tidbit that they don't tell you. Star Trek was almost canceled by her before it even got going. And that was because they had sold 2 pilots when they only had the money or support to actually make 1.
Yep.
And
it wasn't. Then you don't make that sound like she was wanting to get rid of it, because she didn't. The fact was they didn't know where they were going to get the money.
Yeah, well,
pilot.
The money eventually went to the other pilot. We'll be celebrating that series next week. Celebrates its anniversary on the 12th.
I will tell you though, Gene Roddenberry, being the shrewd dude that he was, found a way of digging into their budget for the series by just using footage from the unused or unaired pilot when he created the 2-part episode for season 1, The Menagerie.
Yep.
Which they took the cage and split it up and broke it up So actually, they only shot one episode of Star Trek split up and edited in the additional footage from that episode and saved money.
Now,
We have a super chat from
go ahead.
Mexican Iron Man.
Super chat. Good morning, Mikey.
Thank you, Mikey.
My boy Martin was just culturally appropriated on the Ricky Ricardo line. Don't worry. I'll tell it later.
You got some splaining to do, Gary.
Explaining.
Lo sé.
Let's see. Mexican Iron Man, of course, is one of our producers, and so one of our main guys. He's my main man. Absolutely, the guy that I listen to on everything. So,
Well, Gary, let me just say this about that. Okay, let me say this about that. I started watching the reruns in '75, and immediately I got hooked. And then I discovered that all the episodes had been turned into paperback form. There were paperbacks out there.
That's
I
right.
immediately went out and bought every damn paperback I could find. Then I found the fan fiction, which back in those days, there was no, there was no internet or anything. They were producing and publishing fan fiction in Star Trek. So, boy, I'll tell you, it got its hooks in me. Then, when the movie was coming out, the first movie, the Star Trek, the motion picture, I'm telling you, man, I was creaming my jeans.
Oh, Jesus.
until I saw the movie. Then it was like watching paint dry. And later, I interviewed Bob Wise, Mr. Wise, on my radio show.
Wow.
And I asked him about that, and I got to tell you, he got a little hanky. And there were people even saying that finished the franchise until the Wrath of Khan. Then we were on track.
But I got to tell you, though, Bob Weiss, a lot of people don't remember him. Sand Pebbles,
The Andromeda Strain.
Andromeda Strain. He directed
The Daisiers.
the greatest version, the only version of West Side Story. He knew science fiction, and what he did, and a lot of people should appreciate how good that original Star Trek movie is when they go back and watch the final cut of it, where all the effects were fixed. The 4K version is amazing.
Out
And
now. Get it. Out
That's
now.
right, out now. The effects have been fixed to 4K quality, and even though the human being only sees it at 2,000, 2K. That's the human eye only sees 2K. We have it in 4K because that's important. But
Well, I'll tell you, that man was a brilliant director, Robert Wise. He was above and beyond.
I bet you're a big fan, like I am, of the Sand Pebbles.
Oh my God, yeah. With
That is such a good fucking
and Richard
movie.
Attenborough. Oh my God.
Oh man, what a great cast.
Mako?
But anyway, what's that? Mako.
Mako.
That's right. Mako is in it. And that one actor, I can never remember his name. He played in Night Stalker as Vincenzo.
Oh yeah,
Carl
yeah.
Boss. He's
Yeah.
in there, and I swore up and down as a little boy that was real
Simon.
Fred Flintstone.
Oh, Simon.
Because look at him, and he's got that same accent, that New York accent, and it's fucking great. Let's. I'm gonna play out Mexican Iron Man's $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Mikey. You are the bomb, diggity yo. I'm gonna begin with this one for today,
Fascinating.
and I will end with this one for you. I'm not gonna do that one. I'm gonna do this one.
I'll chase him round the moons of Nibia and round the Antares maelstrom and round perdition's flames before I give him up.
Bam, baby. Okay, thank you, Mikey.
And we have
Tickle
this-
Trunk, Mr. Canadian. He is a Canadian. He is from Canada. Mr. Tickle Trunk with $2 super chat. Since there's criminally no sticker of the. I know, right? Nobody has that. They need a sticker of that. So thank you, my friend. Thank you. Now you get this one.
Cry havoc, and let's slip the dogs of war.
I tell you, nobody could overact better than Shatner until they got him on one of the Star Trek films.
Well, you
And
know
they
why
were
that
friends. They were friends from way back. Yeah,
well, you guys might know this, and I've tried to figure it out for years. Where in the hell did the Klingons get off with Shakespeare? Where did that connect?
Well, I love the line. It's a joke. It's really a joke, but it's great, showing how they like to collectivism. It's about collecting, collectivism, socialism, communism, because they represent the Russians in that film. And I thought it was funny when they said, "You have not heard Shakespeare until you hear him in the original Klingon." And I'm like Shakespeare was Klingon? What the fuck? I love that film. And of course, Keith, go ahead and explain how close they were friends and why they were friends.
Well,
and how
they were kind of friends. I mean, they eventually became friends. What it is that Christopher Plummer was this big-time stage actor. And whenever you are acting on stage, especially on Broadway, you got to have an understudy. And that's who Shatner was. He was Christopher Plummer's understudy. And I think it was, I forgot which play that it was, but he ended up, Plummer ended up not going on stage one night, and Shatner took over. And from that point on, Shatner was on the road to becoming a star. I mean, he did a lot of other plays and other films and other television series.
Yeah, and I do believe that Twilight Zone really helped him. 2 episodes.
Yeah, that show and his Broadway play, The World of Susie Wong.
Yeah.
And
he was also in the original stage production of Shot in the Dark.
And
before it became Inspector Clouseau.
And he was also in the Karamazov Brothers with Yul Brynner.
I don't. Oh wait, yes, that's right.
He was the youngest. He was
also in the American remake of the Akira Kurosawa film. Where they have the 3 different perspectives of a crime that took place.
Oh, Rashomon. No.
Rashomon. And they made the American version, which I forget the name of it. And Shatner was the central character that's talking to everybody, investigating what happened.
Well, back in, 2001 or 2, when did Nemesis come out, the movie? That was 2000.
2002, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think. Well, anyway, Vicky, my wife, we were publishing UFO Magazine then. And she was invited back to New York for the opening, the press thing for Nemesis. And this was, of course, right after the attacks on the Twin Towers. And she went back, and when she came home, and I've got it right now in the hallway, she was given a presentation case with a bottle of Romulan ale. Okay.
Whoa.
I've got to take a picture of that. I don't have my camera on today, or I'd show you. But this thing it's really a neat presentation box, and inside is a bottle of, they're calling it Romulan ale. It's beer, okay? Romulan. And I often wondered, if I put that on eBay, I wonder if anybody would be interested in that.
I thought it was illegal.
Yeah, well, that's only the Federation. The Federation's not
right,
in charge yet.
Look, everybody knows that it was originally not Romulan ale, but Andorian ale, and then they switched to calling it Romulan ale because they were both the same thing.
You haven't experienced Romulan ale until you've experienced it in its original Klingon.
By the way, she hasn't spoken yet. Say hello, Magitech. It's so nice to finally have you on.
Hello. Good morning to everybody out there when it's the time zone that's in the morning.
Hello,
Yeah.
Nick.
Is it still
Hey.
morning?
Good
Yeah,
morning,
it's
my
still morning.
Yeah, it
Still
is.
morning.
It's 11:33 here for me, so I'm
Oh, you're
awake.
East Coast. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm awake. I've got my second cup of coffee. I probably will need a
Don't tell
third.
us what state you're in, or city you're in, but which state are you in?
Well, I'm home is in Virginia, but right now I'm in North Carolina.
Have you and I talked about this before? Because you know I'm from Fredericksburg, right?
Yes, we have, Gary. We've
That's so
had Twitter DMs a long time ago.
Yeah, and what's up with the nude pictures of apes? I don't get it.
What? What the freak?
And of course, our buddy Chris is here. Chris is a filmmaker, visual effects guy. Good to see you, my friend. He actually, if he dressed up in costume, would absolutely look like that alien that came from the future, or human, whatever he was, in Enterprise, the TV series. You kind of look like that actor.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Gary, because that actor is Matt Winston, son of Stan Winston, and a lot of people have said that I look enough like Stan Winston that they want to actually do a makeup job on me to make me look like him.
I can see that. You actually do look like Stan.
Yeah.
But hey, nothing against you. You're not cut, dude. You're not cut. Fucking Stan Winston was fucking like Mr. Olympia fucking cut. You ever seen that guy without a shirt on? Even I, a straight man, completely went gay for that man.
I'm working on it. I've got skinny arms, but I'm working on it.
It's bigger for you that. See, I'm gay. I'm gay freaking.
Hey, we have to before we continue. I have to say, it needs to be acknowledged that Mr. Spock has the thickest "your mama" joke I have ever heard. End quote. He said, "Your mama's so fat, she outweighs the needs of the many."
Fuck off, Chris. I've not said anything to him this morning yet, but he left his speakers going so I could hear my own voice. Thank you, John. Good morning, John.
Sorry, actually, Khan fell off and hit the
your little
mute
bobblehead.
key. Yeah, he fell off, and while I was back getting the Star Trek RPG,
and he stuck in during the show when Keith was doing one of his breakdowns. Dork Knight, are you here, Dork Knight?
Yeah, my
going. I got Mike indicated too, bitch. See, I got mine. See, anyway. Come in, Ensign Dorky. Ensign Dorky, do you read me? My battery's dead. Fuck you.
Yeah, my internet's wonky.
Well, you're wearing your classic
I'm gonna try to
shirt. Smock.
Yeah.
You want to call it. And then, of course, Scott Lewis is here, looking all shaky with his hair.
Good morning. Good morning.
And
I got to say, it's very funny this morning. The two best lines of the morning so far is Mr. Don saying he creamed his jeans and you saying a straight man going gay for him. These are going to be new hashtags we're going to have by the end of the day.
Put that on T-shirts.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows that I am gay for this show.
And that's what freaks his doogie.
Bumper sticker that says, "I clean my jeans for pop culture mind."
Nope. He said the magic word, Doogie. What freaks your Doogie? All right, Keith. What freaks your Doogie?
The entire writing staff for Star Trek.
There you go. That's what makes him cream his jeans. John, das Wolfen.
Yep.
What freaks your Doogie?
Well, I have a lot of stuff that'll do that, but
he's afraid to say out loud in public.
No. I like the way that Star Trek is that it is probably the single most influential show ever made.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have the technology that we have now, because it inspired a generation of scientists.
There you go. Just before I go to the next person, which is Don, I want to say this is what I said last night on Kyle's show, because God damn it, man, we launched Kyle's channel, Zach's channel, and that fucker's like surpassed us, man. 8,500 subs.
Jeez.
You know? But anyway, I'm so proud of him. He puts out really good quality videos. And, I said it last night that current Trek doesn't do what old Trek does, which includes all the way back to Next Generation, which is inspire people to want to be scientists because they use real science, accurate science. I'm hoping we get Star Trek back on the rails of inspiring people again. And it could happen because Paramount right now is really fucking pissed at Alex Kurtzman. Tell me I'm wrong, Keith.
Oh, you're not wrong at all. I mean, the current head of Paramount would
Them
really
threatening them pissed
that
dude off.
Unfortunately, Paramount doesn't really hold the dominant position. That's all CBS.
You watch. They're going to push. They're going to push because they want movies, and they're going to push the envelope. Don Ecker, can you share with us what freaks your doogie?
Slivovitz.
Fuck yeah, you've talked about it enough that I want to try it. Yep, Slivovitz. Yep, there you go. All right, Daniel. Get back on camera, motherfucker.
Oh.
My internet's crap, dude. Like, I
know,
keep freezing on
Mine will pick me off. Don't worry about it. I like looking at your pretty face. What freaks your doogie? And remember,
good
this
internet.
Show is G13.
Good internet. I need high-speed internet. I need to fix this right now. So,
yeah,
I'm going to go down. I'm going to go to engineering and see what I can do.
Hey, sir, I'm giving it all I can. All right, fuck Dork. Now he's not going to tell us what freaks his doogie. We're going to move on to Martin. Martin Acosta Santana, what freaks your doogie, my brother?
The Genesis weapon.
Fucking love you, buddy. Scott Lewis, and it can't do anything with cars. What freaks your doogie?
It's all about the audio. The music did it for me.
Outstanding. And little fucking Virginia girl. What freaks your doogie? Because you know what? This got started in Fredericksburg, Virginia. That saying, what freaks your doogie?
So give me the what floats your boat? Gotcha, thank you. I just want to make sure I'm gonna answer at least the correct way rather than something else.
Are you talking about S&M? I'm into S&M.
Well, is that anything like SNL? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like it, only different.
Okay.
I think
For SNL.
I think for me, what freaks my doogie is there to be whales here.
There'll be whales here.
Yeah. That's actually I know that's not everybody's favorite Star Trek movie, but that's actually mine.
It's actually I love that film, and I like it. It's got some great lines in it.
That's kind of my guilty. That's my guilty pleasure. Of course, the best one is Khan, The Wrath of Khan. So.
Whoa. Wait. That's actually the most popular film with the normies, who are not Star Trek fans. Is Star Trek 4.
And you know why? Because it was subvertly made as a Christmas film. Because if you pay attention to the soundtrack is Christmas music. It's played exactly, subconsciously remind you of Christmas.
Well, the escape from the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
My friend did too much LDS in the
LDS.
I just like the fact that they're part in our current era back then, but I mean they went back into the past, and how interesting how they had to kind of integrate into that world, even though it is their planet in a way, but it's kind of like trying to reacclimate themselves into that kind of society, which
is fun.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept.
Forgets Chekhov saying Wessel.
Where are the nuclear vessels?
Where are the nuclear vessels? And of course, everybody's like,
where are the nuclear vessels in Alameda? He says, "Oh, they're over there in Alameda." You already know.
Computer.
I know that's. Oh my god.
There's so many great lines in that film, and like
Well,
double
dumbass on you.
I know. Yeah.
But absolutely, one of my favorites is Bones, when he's confronting Spock at the beginning of the film. You've really gone where no man has gone before. And Spock says, "I'm sorry, we don't have a common source of reference to be able to talk about it." He says, "Are you saying that I would have to die to be able to talk to you about it?" And he says, "I'm sorry, Doctor, I'm receiving a series of distress signals." And Bones says, I bet you are.
We have a super chat for Mr.
Oh, I saw it, buddy. Thank you for reminding me, though. Mr. Tickletron, $5 Canadian. Current Trek is not Trek. I urge you to do what I do, is follow Clobberin Times and R.M. Briggs' lead and call it The Filth. Hail to the 7th Club. You know what? It's hard for me to call it filth with Strange New Worlds, because I think there are some people there that are really actually trying.
Yeah.
And Alex Kurtzman is not directly involved with it, but he goes in there and pushes his influence into it, and it fucks it up. But they did have one solid fucking episode that I absolutely liked, which is where the kid is being used to replace another child to energize whatever the fuck it is they're doing. It's a special ability. And that episode was a solid fucking script. It was solid, good writing. And I actually enjoyed one that a lot of people didn't like because they felt it was too soon to have a period gag where they, this alien, which I didn't like that part. I thought that was stupid. Where this Q-like alien takes over the ship and suddenly they're in a fantasy world. And I did enjoy a lot of the humor in that, but I got pissed when they made what's his name, Pike, be the dandy. They made the most masculine character on the show the dandy. And immediately I'm like, I know why you did that, and fuck you for doing it. And that's Kurtzman again. And Akiva Goldsman, who's literally a human being that could not fight his way out of a bag if he had to write out his way out.
By the way, Christmas music year-round is a good thing.
Yep.
Indeed.
Now, last but not least, and don't worry, I'm not going to forget about Tickletron's $2. Or $5. I want to get back to one more. What freaks your doogie? And that goes to Chris.
I freaked it all for the doogie. The doogie. But the Wookiee ate my cookie.
The Wookiee. Okay.
Captain Kirk said, what? Captain Kirk said, what? Really, Gary? It's your smile.
Well, you know I love you, Chris. You are a good friend of mine. I met you in our secret group that we're not allowed to say the name of. And I got invited in there by Dave Dorman, Denise Dorman, and I think Graham and Chuck also invited me into that group. And when I met you, I'm like, oh man, I'm in dude love. He's so cool. I want to be friends with him. And you notice that, by the way, Kelly Jones, who is also in that secret group, posted on my page yesterday. I was tickled over that. It was
such talented, between Kelly Jones and Dave Dorman. I mean, such talented artists.
Kelly, here's what happens. I'll talk to Kelly. Kelly will talk to me. And then I go, come on our show. And then he stops talking to me.
I promised I made a Cthulhu puppet a while ago that I was going to send to him. And then I used latex in it. And anyone that uses latex knows it's an organic substance. So it starts
and it does break down after a few years.
Yeah, so the latex started to break down and get really sticky and gooey, and you cannot clean it off. So I didn't send it to him because I didn't want to do that. And I've been trying to figure out how to maybe 3D scan it and do a sculpt for him. But he loved it because it's very much his kind of bony style, that it just, yeah. Oh, yeah, he did the Alien Hive. That was an awesome book.
He really dug it when we lost Bernie Wrightson, which was tragic. I fucking love him. I turned to Kelly. I said, they're going to hire you because you are the heir apparent to the Wrightson style of artwork. And he liked that. Thank you. And I'm like, you bet. Now do our show. Then he doesn't talk to me.
Hey, going back to Trek, there was something you mentioned because as a filmmaker, I love low budget, money saving techniques, doing all the indie film stuff. One of the things, I don't know if you guys knew this or this got mentioned, but you had mentioned that they reused stuff from the original pilot to save money. One of the things that they also did to save money was at the same time they were producing Star Trek, they were producing another science fiction show that most people have forgotten about called Time Tunnel. And
I remember that show.
And Time Tunnel, they would just some of the creatures. I bet Keith's got something here. They would swap the creatures from Time Tunnel to Star Trek back and forth and just do repaints and kind of mishmashes to save money. Yeah. That's the best part of Time Tunnel right there. Yeah, the picture
rifle on Star Trek from the second pilot was used to get Keith. Help me out here. Stop showing books. Stop showing books. Help me out here. Because you remember what show, because I've forgotten what show ended up using that phaser rifle.
That was
Space, or was it Space 1999?
Oh, eventually, I think it was Space 1999.
Yeah, because I remember another show
they had a bigger budget for Lost in Space. Lost in Space was the preeminent sci-fi series on TV, and was the number one reason why CBS didn't want to pick up Star Trek. They were spending a lot of money on Lost in Space, and ratings-wise, it was also a big hit, which was ironic considering tables would be turned by the early 1970s, right, with Star Trek becoming the popular show and Lost in Space kind of inhabiting a kind of a niche.
Space Flight 1999 actually really kind of had the feel of the new kind of Star Trek, because they went in the right direction in season 1, but then the American branch of ITV took over, and they really ended up into the monster of the week.
Yeah, they ended up hiring the guy who took over from Gene Kuhn.
Right, yeah, that dude.
And he was more into that. In fact, a lot of the episodes they had in the third season were more along that line.
That's and so why Gene Roddenberry, and I've always held this against him for doing this, when he stepped away from Star Trek in season 3, you could see the loss of having him there. And well, he wasn't there for season 3.
No, he wasn't there for season 3 either, but he stepped away in season 2. That's when
noticeable, because everything was planned out for the season. By the time we got to season 3, he wasn't there for the planning or for the overseeing of it. And so it was really a hit and miss season. A lot of misses. Spock's brain, Jesus Christ, really.
Spock's brain, Turnabout Intruder,
which was the final
episode. Thank goodness.
They fizzled the fucking season with that episode. They should have moved that to the middle and put one of the better episodes for the finale.
Yeah.
But there you have it. I need to go back though, because we did have. Let me go back to the comments here. Start.
Paulie. Hello, Paulie.
I want to put this back up again. I love you, Mr. Chocolate Trunk. Thank you for your $5. I'm going to play you. Oh my goodness, what video do I play? You are going to get my favorite non-Star Trek video.
If you think that by threatening me you can get me to be your slave, well, that's where you're right. And I'm only saying this because I care. There are a lot of decaffeinated brands on the market today that are just as tasty as the real thing.
One of the best non sequitur lines ever jokes ever said in a film, right there. I was blown away. Nobody laughed at that, and I'm the only person in the audience like cracking up at that line. I was like,
fascinating.
Why aren't you laughing? It was genius, and that's why the movie's called Real Genius. Shut up. All right, we got through the Freak My Doogies or Freaks Your Doogies. Thank you again, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for your $5 super chat. Between you and Mexican Iron Man, you support this show, and of course, I want to put out Polly there. Gary Keith, Blue Beetle News, check. Okay, I'm very fucking excited about this. Because the first I heard of this was because of Polly, and then we checked in with Mikey, and Mikey's like, "Yep," and I'm like, "Oh shit!" So very exciting. I'm not going to check it now, but I will, Polly. I will after the show, and we'll talk about it a little bit during TGIF today.
Yeah, you should come on for that.
Polly, do come on, man. You do the news. We won't do the news. You do the news. You'll do it. You do it. Just do it. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Just do it. Who else do I have starred? I got Dragon. What's this one say? I didn't get to read it, so I wanted to read it. Sorry, Martin. I'm going to take over just for a second. Watch first season of Discovery out of. Look, they actually have 5 good episodes before it turned. And I predicted it. I'm like, Lorca is too cool of a character. He has to be the villain. I like him too much. He's too manly. He has to be the bad guy. And of course, yeah, he was the bad guy.
Well,
hey, buddies, going back to sleep on day 3 of Lyme Powerade. And oh, man, I'm so sorry. He's sick. War Monkey. By the way, if you have an Alexa, you can change it to recognize computer as the computer. It's always been one of my favorites. Grab a mouse, talk into it. Hello, computer. We need Bill Barkley here. He is got the lighter of the Scottish accents, whereas our good friend, 70s rock fan, that dude's got Glasgow Inverness all over him. But let's see. As the command word to wake it up, I did it because of Star Trek forcing. Yeah, of course. And of course, we now have invisible aluminum. Thank you, Star Trek.
Transparent aluminum.
Yes.
Scotty has my favorite series line when the original series was going on. I just love the moment in, I think it was Trouble with Tribbles, where the Klingons insult the Enterprise, and Scotty just goes, I really wish you hadn't have said that, Letty.
Well, the whole joke of that scene is that they're shitting all over Captain Kirk. And he's getting angry, but he's like, we'll let that slide, you know. And then they insult the ship. And
they call it garbage scowl.
Hears that, and he's like, huh.
The Enterprise shouldn't be hauling garbage. She should be hauled away as garbage.
No.
Well, DS9 did a great one with that episode when they crossed over. Oh my God, that was brilliant.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
Oh God, Mike, I'm telling you, Monkey Jeebus, anything you say, he will find a way to shit on it. I just had it highlighted.
That's what we love about it.
Transparent aluminum gives 75% more Alzheimer's. And it's still not proven yet. It's still not. It's a theory that there are large aluminum deposits in the fissures of the human brain with people who suffered from Alzheimer's. And they know that there's got to be some kind of connection there. They haven't proven what it is yet. If it's from consuming canned goods, or if it's consumed from drinking out of canned sodas, or if it's from some other source. But they have found people with Alzheimer's collectively in a large number, not 100%, but a large number of them have collections of aluminum in the fissures of their brain. And it's somehow disrupting normal, the impulse of the nerves for memory and shit like that.
You just ruined my enjoyment of PBR, Gary.
Look, man, Pat Blue Ribbon will never give you Alzheimer's. It's just whatever's in that will kill whatever would give you Alzheimer's.
You guys, I got to beam out. I got work to do.
All right, Chris.
But live long and prosper.
Bye, Chris.
Peace and long life, Chris.
Later.
Keith knows, later, buddy. Keith knows that at conventions, if I say this to somebody walking by, live long and prosper, if they can say the response to it, they get something free from the table. Any piece of artwork, I don't care. You pick it and I'll sign it. You get it for free. But you have to know the response. And is that a question for Magitech? Let's see. If I buy you a shirt that says Gerry read your chat, will you wear it on camera?
Sax? I guess. I mean, if you want me to.
Yeah, everybody loves Max.
Oh, thanks. And I apologize. I'm not talkative much. I'm trying to get rid of a headache. So I'm trying to.
I'll leave
work
that.
through.
The headache will leave when I leave.
That's not what I'm saying, Gerry.
No, I'm saying that. Look, these guys in the chat think they can shit on me better than I can. No. I shit on me all the time. Back to where Gary's reading chat messages from 2021. There we go. You're welcome, Zax, for your fucking channel.
Zax, you're gonna have to put a disclaimer on your credits and say this channel brought to you by Gerry and Keith of Pop Culture Minefield.
I like that one. And for you, Polly, there you go, my friend. I am gay for Latino slant. Polly has really one of the. This is no diss on anybody else.
Have you noticed how?
No, do not think this is an insult. But Polly, I fucking love Polly's channel. I like what he does. I like what he has to say. He is probably, of all of us that are in this family, this network, probably one of the most positive, proactive people going of the group. He always finds a way of doing things in a very positive light, even when he's criticizing. And the other thing I like is he really hooks up some great, what do they call those? Not reviews, but when you bring people on from movies and break down the history of this film and talking to the filmmakers, the actors and such. I fucking love those. Good
I think
stuff.
we lost Keith.
Oh my
Hello,
God.
Will.
Look at that face. Look at that face.
Did the Borg get him?
I don't know, but I'm capturing this for posterity. Please, let me.
Something is happening there.
No, he's out. All right, I'll take it off me. God damn. Well, we got to move into the second hour. Bill Barkley from Scotland is here. Oh, and what I love when somebody does an impression of a Scotsman, real Scotsmen go, "What are you? Are you from Pakistan?" Because they hate fake Scottish accents up there. I'm fucking leave it up there. Gerry is to take over the monarchy. It's King Kissel. I'm going to say one thing, Bill. I'm terrified of Charles because he's the guy who brought about the reset button idea. He's the one who started that.
He's also said that we're human beings are viruses.
Viruses.
So.
Yes, he has. He is now the King of England. The King of England or the royalty have been sort of a figurehead for a long time. But I know that there are ways that Charles could change that.
King Charles the Turd.
The Turd.
That's a nice ring to it.
If he was a true blood Englishman, he would have abdicated the throne and given it to his boy. And this shows what a piece of shit he is. He knows that Elizabeth did not want him to take the crown, nor his father, because of his infidelity in cheating on Princess Di, and that England would never recognize his current wife as the queen. So, but he's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. I'm an American, so I can say that. I can't be sent to prison. Bill Barkley is Scottish. He can say it because that's the Scottish rite. They get to say it too. So Stone Pie Media is here. Good morning. Who all did I miss? Let me say hello to everybody. Hex Allen is here. Retro Nerd Girl, hello. Stone Pie Media, of course, Sax. I said hello to Cave of Villains, hello. Scribe Light, I love Scribe. And let me get down further. We got, of course, one of my favorite monkeys of all time, War Monkey. There's nothing better than a war monkey. When you need a monkey, you want a war monkey. Pat S. Don't get me wrong. I like Monkey Jeebus, but Monkey Jeebus is a false god. Monkey Jeebus, oh, fuck you guys. All right. Pat S., of course. I hope he gets feeling better. Dragon Bricks. How many dragons do we have in the house right now? Do we have 2 dragons? I think we have 2 dragons. Yes, we have 2 dragons. This is actually a house of dragons. And 3 of them, all 3 of them. Okay. Let's see. And of course, Bill Barkley. So welcome, everybody. Glad you're here for our celebration. I'm hoping Keith is probably rebooting his computer. Probably also taking the moment to go have a Keith poop. And then we'll see him come back. It's his. I watched all the latest episodes of Resident Alien. Fucking Resident Alien, this last episode. What a fucking episode. You get what's called missing time, Don. They show missing time.
Yeah, I watched it.
And I was like, was there missing time? I'm like, and then you finally get to see what really happened at that moment where they suddenly come to. You get to see the missing moments. And that was fucking funny and kind of scary, because the Greys are bad guys. And they're also assholes.
No, you fit right in.
They are the douchebag. No. I'm not an asshole. But they're the douchebags of the universe, according to this show, Resident Alien. I love that.
Well, Harry has a lot of douchery in him.
Oh, yes, he does. But what I like is that because he was leaving a crop circle message for the lizard creatures.
Yeah.
And he says, "See that one in the corner?" And he says something about that's my penis or something like that. Something like that. And I just laughed. I love that fucking show. It's one of the best shows on TV. And amazingly, nothing like the comic book. And I really had an issue when I first heard they were going to do that, go way off reservation with the comic. But I watched that first episode and I'm like, okay, I'm in. I am all in. And yeah, you need to Tickle Trunk because it's a very, very well written, funny show. Bill, I absolutely love those videos. They're really cool. And he prints these little miniature UFOs with their stand, and he puts the little lights in them. Like he has one from Invaders. Remember that show, Don? The Invaders?
Where can we see them?
I got it. I got the whole shooting match. As a matter of fact, last night I watched 2 episodes.
I own that, so I can watch it anytime I want. I love that series. I wish it had never gotten canceled. That was such a good show. I wanted to see it to its fruition. It's finale.
Well, that movie they did with the guy that what the hell was that actor's name?
Scott Bakula.
Yeah. That was really a misfire.
Oh, big time. It felt like it didn't even understand the original series.
Everybody's sitting around in a restaurant, smoking away, eating greasy steaks, smoking cigarettes. And what the hell is this?
Yeah, it was a weird film. It felt completely detached from the original series, and they were trying to revive it and bring it back, but it was terrible. It wasn't very good. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time. But I like your 3D printed UFOs, man. The triangular one that you had, that reminds me of one of the first ones in season 1 of Project UFO, which was one of the last things that Webb produced before he died. And it was a very good show. It went through changes because he was starting to get sick before he died. And so he was not so involved with season 2 of the show. And they did some recasting. It lost all the strength the first season had, which was it was basically taking Project Blue Book cases and turning them into episodes. And it was really good. I think that they made a mistake in representing the Air Force as being helpful, which they were not. They were absolutely there. Project Blue Book was there for one reason and one reason only, to dismiss find any way possible to dismiss reports of UFOs and aliens. Good morning, the Bat Channel. How are you doing? I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to make a phone call. Find out what's going on with Keith.
Do you remember Project Blue Book, Gary?
The latest series?
Back in the 70s.
That's what I'm talking about. It's called Project UFO by Jack Webb.
Jack Webb, yeah. Did I say Blue Book?
Yeah, it was Project UFO, but it's based on
Blue Book.
Blue Book, but what I disliked about it was showing how nice the Air Force was about things. And I'm like, no, they were there for one reason. They were there to dismiss whatever story, find any way to explain it. But Hynek later would become a huge supporter of UFO, which you and I we're supposed to talk about that on one of our Wednesdays because you were going to tell me stories about Hynek.
Yeah.
But I'm calling Keith right now.
See if he's okay.
Yeah, because he's not back, and I'm like, what's going on? Everything okay? You coming back?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back on.
Okay, well, we're getting worried because you weren't back yet, so just checking on you. What's going on? Did you lose internet?
No, but I mean, I can't literally get back on. It keeps like going into that standby mode. I could hear what you guys were saying, and I couldn't get. I mean, I was in the room for quite a while before I was able to even get out. I couldn't even literally leave the room because for some reason I couldn't even jump out of the room.
You got a glitch, buddy. Just let me send you another invite board, and I'm going to send it through our other channel, Facebook page. I think that's what you need to do. I think you glitched out. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Bye. There. I want to make sure everybody can hear what happened. Boy, it would have been really bad if it had been personal.
What was your feelings about the series out of the UK gang, UFO?
Oh, Gerry Anderson.
Gerry Anderson.
Gerry and Sylvia Anderson were just the power couple of England when it came to making sci-fi. I watched everything they made, and when they decided to go from puppets to live action with UFO, man, I was hooked. I'm like, don't go back to marionettes, man. Keep doing what you're doing here. It's working. And UFO, it's said to have had 2 seasons, but in all reality, they have enough episodes for 1 actual season. And they're spread out over time the way they were shot. They released when they were able because of the budget constraints. And I loved that show, man. I loved it. I loved how anybody that was in the naval aspect of the UFO program wore mesh.
The fishnet.
Yeah. Occasionally you'd see some boobage that was amazing. And as a little boy, I was always like, oops, nobody's watching. And that was a great show. I love that series. And I got to tell you, it was the best UFO I've ever seen. Their UFO on that show. And their representation of what the aliens were. That if they breathed our air, they would die, But they were absolute enemies of humanity. Great show.
I love those moon base fighters.
Yeah, and that was what inspired.
One shot wonder. They get 1 shot. Boom.
Yeah, that one giant fucking rocket on the front, and then their ship is rendered useless. Return to base. So they had to change that. And of course, when we finally moved ahead to Space 1999, we got probably one of the coolest designs of a ship in the history of all science fiction outside of the Enterprise. The Eagle, which John knows, everybody knows. I have a giant 3-foot eagle in my room. It usually hangs up on the wall behind me when I do a show, but this isn't my studio, so I can't do that. I would do that to someone's house. So it sits on my nightstand, and it is beautiful, handcrafted by a buddy of mine, Brian, and he is a prop maker. And he made that and gave it to me for my birthday. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll take it. I remember walking into that house with that eagle. I'm like, and I would turn it to him. I said, okay, I'm leaving with it. Yeah, try to take it from me. I dare you. And I
It
love
looks awesome.
it is. You've seen it, John.
Yeah.
You've seen my eagle. It's pretty big.
Oh my.
Girthy.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I went to the getter, John. Sorry. But it's but again, Space 1999, Gerry and Sylvia Anderson. It was the last thing they did together, really. And what really makes me sad is that they didn't continue working together even after the divorce, because they were really good when they worked together. And I think we would have gotten more from them if they had stuck together. Let's see, Monkey Jeebus, there should be aliens that use their atmosphere more efficiently. You guys are mentioning all of my favorite old sci-fi shows. Of course, Retro Girl. There should be aliens. Yeah, I read that one. Aliens travel more than humans, so they would have better immune systems. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love H.G. Wells' story in War of the Worlds, and that microorganisms that would kill them. In real life, I would imagine any species that is more advanced than us would know to inoculate. They would have sent probes here to find anything and then take it back to their planet and use it to create vaccine for invading Earth. But let's get into this. Keith is still trying to get here. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's lost internet completely. He's not messaging me either. So, but hopefully he'll come back, because I would like to talk about Herbert F. Solo, who was, we'll probably talk more about him in TGIF today. But I'd like to go around the table and find out which each one of these favorite Star Trek episode was, and what it was about that episode that stuck out in your mind. We'll start with you, John.
Yeah. My favorite episode is probably Trouble with Tribbles, but number 2 is obviously Space Seed.
Now, I'm going to tell you something interesting. Space Seed is a great episode. It, of course, is the prequel to Star Trek Geographic.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that Star Trek The Motion Picture, in its own way, should have given credit to the writer of The Changeling in Star Trek, because it is basically the exact same themes and premise as a film. And the only difference is Kirk doesn't blast it into space to, does a logic loop with it. It's going to cause it to explode, sends it into space, and blows up. That is the old Star Trek way of doing things. In Star Trek, the motion picture, instead, they realize what it actually is, and that it's become sentient, and therefore it wants to evolve. And in order to evolve, it must combine itself with the creator, humans. And two humans, one not by choice, the other one by choice, Captain Decker, joins with the
Dalton.
Yeah. And that's a really cool scene. And how they did that scene, that cool spiral type of reflective effect, was done with a painted coat hanger, shot as reflective, having reflective paint put on it, and then they spun it, and then they did all sorts of photo manipulation with it to create that really cool sparkly effect. And because I know the guy who did the effects for it. We planned to have him on, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him. Keith hasn't had a chance to talk to him. And
Bye, Debo.
Oh, someone got to go?
Yeah, Debo.
Deba, take it easy, buddy. Doomsday Machine is your favorite episode. Absolutely one of the greatest episodes ever on Star Trek.
That's my third favorite.
Third favorite. Don, what is your favorite and why?
Well, the Trials and Tribulations, of course, is great, and actually there are a number, but my absolutely favorite all-time original Star Trek episode has got to be the one with Sally Kellerman and Gary Collins, where
that was the second pilot. Yep, that was the second pilot.
Yeah. That one, and later, as you got to know characters like Lieutenant Commander Spock, you always saw him as a very compassionate, even though he wouldn't use that word, but very involved with protecting life and accepting, and I mean the whole Vulcan thing. But he advised Kirk that maybe you ought to smoke your buddy there because he's getting real dangerous. As Collins continued to evolve, his mental capacity.
Right.
Spock saw the danger there.
Yeah, and of course that was still old Spock because he was still kind of the Spock that we knew from the first pilot. He had not completely evolved yet, and he talks about that in his book that it took him a little bit to figure out how to play that character. But that we saw a little bit of that Spock in the episode, like the chess scene. But then he smirks. You humans, the condescending. Oh shit! What the fuck just happened? That was really weird. Everybody see that?
No.
I watched all you like. I think I'm about to have a Keith lose internet. That was weird. Because it shows I've got a good signal. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Oh, can you
read the private chat, Gerry, please?
Oh, is it? Okay, let me check it. Hold on. Settings. Is that better? Is this any better?
Yes.
Okay. All right, there we go. So going back to what were we just talking about? What episode was that? Where No Man Has Gone Before. Where No Man Has Gone Before is the second pilot, and it was they were using the uniforms from the first pilot, and so therefore it didn't even have the look down. But they ended up not airing it as the second pilot. They ended up showing that as the third episode. The first episode aired was the Monster of the Week type episode, which was the Salt Monster, the Salt Vampire, whatever you would call her, and which was actually the second episode film. Ended up being the first, and then Charlie X was actually Charlie X was the second one filmed. Where No Man's Gone Before, Charlie X, and then I forget what the fuck was that episode? Salt Vampire. I forget the name of it. But great episode, though, Don. That is a great episode. I think it's probably one of the best written Shatner. Martin, what was your favorite? Why?
Oh man, there's so many. I couldn't have a pinpoint one specifically because, as I said, there's so many that I like. Although I don't know them by name, but the one with, like Bill Barkley said, with John Collins when Kirk has to let.
It was Mantrap. I'm sorry.
That's the one with Dr. Langstrom. That
where
is,
they use a computer,
yes,
and they do war games, and it becomes a real fight for survival.
And the computer decides to eradicate everything.
Yep.
The one with when McCoy gets married. There's so many. I don't have I can say this one in particular. No, I'm unable to.
Well, okay. Fuck you.
And of course, Spacey being a little self-serving.
So, Scott, are you there?
Scott said he was on the phone, but he said his favorite is Trouble with Tribbles. It's in the private chat.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. That's right. Magitech, your favorite?
Scott stole my thunder with that one because Trouble with Tribbles is one of my favorites too. I remember watching that as because I never watched the show when it aired. It was before my time, but I remember reruns, and that was one of my favorites as a kid growing up, and it still is one of my favorites.
It's one of the most fun, and it was. Gene Roddenberry is very stressed out about that episode because he felt that comedy wasn't good for Star Trek. He didn't like that.
I think in some ways though it landed well because it was funny, but it was also, you know, it's exploring different parts of the universe where you
got to see a more irreverent Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
It was the first time and only time you got to see it, really.
Yep.
And it really did. You could almost hear laugh tracks for every time they did something. Thank God there wasn't. But it's like every time there's a gag, you couldn't help but laugh and go, man, if this is your regular Saturday, you know, or I mean, comedy, there'd be a laugh track every time you see something like that. And I also liked the fact that it connected directly to Klingons, which played again later on Deep Space Nine with Tribbles and Worf not liking them. So.
And Terry Farrell was so hot in that original skirt, that original Star Trek.
She left. I'm so pissed she left because I didn't like the girl that took her place. She was, what was her name? Jadzia Dax, was that it?
Jadzia, yes.
Yeah, and she was like a great fucking character. I'm going to tell you my favorites really quick. Oddly, my number one favorite is not Doomsday Machine, but Devil in the Dark.
Which one? Again?
I fucking love that one because that's when you get to see Spock do a mind meld with a creature.
Devil in the Dark. Yeah.
Oh.
That rock creature that is killing people in the tunnel.
The mother. It was
The
a
Horda.
mommy.
The Horda.
Yep.
That's the race
the
name,
Horda.
the Horda.
The
And
mommy Horda.
it's just such a fucking good episode. Next one, of course, with Commodore Decker, which is Captain Decker's father from Star Trek The Motion Picture. And Commodore Decker, his ship is, he loses, it's one of the best moments in Star Trek for drama, is the scene where he says, I beamed them down to the planet. And they said, there is no planet. And he says, don't you think that I know that? He killed his entire crew. It's like, fuck, sent them to their deaths. Doomsday Machine is my second favorite. Third favorite is The Trouble with Tribbles. Fourth favorite is the one that Don likes, which is Where No Man Has Gone Before. Great episode. He's back. Danny, what is your favorite episode of Star Trek from Star Trek, the original series? And why?
Because I'm a few reasons. I'm kind of a sappy romantic, and
we didn't hear it.
I loved the end.
We didn't hear it.
Yeah, my internet sucks, man. Sorry, my internet
Go
sucks. I'm kind of a sappy romantic, and I was digging seeing Kirk, who's usually the womanizer, actually like catch the feels, but then like he had to make the ultimate difficult decision of letting this woman he fell in love with die. And at the end, I just love the line where he's like, "Let's get the hell out of here." You know, and this is actually the
forever. Right?
Yes, yeah. You see, am I not coming through? I guess still on video.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry, buddy.
It's
No,
a
it's
little
cool.
It's a little delayed, by like a second or two. If that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to trying to fix it. I've been dealing with tech support, but I wanted to hop in because I absolutely love this episode. So,
all right, buddy. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you later. So, what's that? Flying into a giant space turd. Did I miss something? I hate it when I miss something in the chat and then we get the punchline and I got to go back.
Oh, the next one makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, Matt Decker. Okay, yeah. Because I'm friends with you as Matt Decker over on Sednet for a while. Kingsport Cal, the redhead in TNG was a good character. I don't remember that.
Gates McFadden.
Oh, her, yeah. that whole situation, we could probably talk about that maybe this afternoon. Well, we'll do it on Saturday. Saturday morning fun time, we'll talk about Next Generation. We're going to stick to today, the original series. We're going to focus on Star Trek. And I don't mind talking about the movies with them, but I don't want to go into any Next Generation until.
Well, in the original, Gary, one of the hallmark actors for me was Mark Leonard, because Mark Leonard did a number of different. He did the original Romulan. He played Sarek, Spock's father. And he did a Klingon, for God's sake, even
And
at one
he's
point.
the command Klingon in Star Trek The Motion Picture, who is giving all the commands when they get taken over and assimilated by, which is what, by V'ger. What's interesting is Gene Roddenberry came out because fans were already asking that question. That all the way back in the 80s, going into the early 90s, if what advanced him, the society or culture that advanced him was the Borg, the feature. And I always thought that was interesting. Oh, you want to edit it? There he is.
Hey,
You're back.
Keith is back.
Yay! Back! Woo!
We are now doing, and you are next. Now that you're back, is your favorite episode, absolute favorite episode of Star Trek, and why?
Absolute favorite. Wow.
I know in order my favorites.
I have way too many. So let me reach back and just say a piece of the action, and I'll tell you why.
That's a good one.
A piece of the action was an episode that for me really stood out in so much as having the Enterprise crew, or in this case, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. First and foremost, Spock and Kirk getting dressed up. The hats and just the Tommy
guns.
It was something that, you know, to see Vic Tayback and all the other actors act like mob bosses and trying to reduce everything into that was a great episode for me. I still laugh to this day thinking about all of that, especially with the ending and McCoy thinking that he, you know, left his communicator. But that one and Requiem for Methuselah are the two that really come to mind for me. But then again, I'm a sucker for the entire writing staff of that show, which, as Gary, you and I had talked about, it's one of those things that people really do not give a lot of credit for. You should look into the background of everyone that wrote for that show. To a person,
you and I also talked about this last night.
Yeah.
That some of the best, Theodore Sturgis and his wife, Willa, and David Gerald, and God help me here, I forgot the other one that wrote
DC Fontana and
DC Fontana all worked on Land of the Lost.
Years later, yes.
Gerald, I did not know this until you said it, that David Gerald created the Slee Stack.
Yes. Well, I mean, again, the writing staff that they have for Star Trek was a complete murderer's row. You had people that had experience in science fiction as a literary art form.
One that you and I've talked about, and look, and I'm going to tell you, Harlan Ellison is an amazing fucking writer.
Oh yeah.
But I got to tell you, he's batshit fucking crazy too.
Oh, he's king of the assholes. He is king of the assholes.
He's not even an asshole. He's out of his fucking gourd.
Half the time, yes.
Listen to some of the things he's done in his personal life, and I'm like, yeah, you're fucking crazy. But he was also
he's
genuine
room temp these days.
What's that?
He's room temp.
Oh. But Harlan had this stupid fucking, and he got angry about it because in City on the Edge of Forever, he killed McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't kill, and this is the funny part. His arrogance. This is the thing was his undoing with Star Trek. Was he probably would have been a more regular writer if he hadn't fucking been so arrogant about things. And he was very arrogant. That he said it was stupid of them to not kill McCoy in his story the way he wrote it. And it's like, you don't understand fucking TV shows at all, and to make a proclamation like that, I know you think you sound smart in your head, but you sound like an idiot to Star Trek fans. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, people don't give credit to Roddenberry for going out and actually getting people who actually, A, write science fiction and wrote it professionally in many of their cases, and B, had experience with that in Hollywood, and many of them also had the dual experience of either being fantasy writers and or writers who favored Westerns, okay? All three of those came together to help make this show. And here's one last fact. Almost to a person, with the exception of Dorothy Fontana, Gene Kuhn, and I think Samuel Peoples, almost every other person that wrote for that show either won a Galaxy Award, a Nebula Award, and or are in the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Writers Hall of Fame, and in the case of Harlan Ellison won every award you could win as a writer.
You forgot about the Hugos.
And the Hugos, I'm sorry. The Hugos as well. So this is where the current version of Trek under Kurtzman completely falls apart, because they didn't do that. When J. Michael Straczynski, who was a big and still is a big Star Trek fan, when he decided to make Babylon 5, did the same thing. He went out and found writers who had that dual sort of thing with them, who could write television, but were also big science fiction people. Although very rarely do you have someone that is able to write science fiction novels, which more than half of the writing staff of Star Trek could do. They were best-selling authors. And you have to think.
This is what he and Rod Serling were both the best at doing, is finding the best sci-fi writers to write for their shows. This is something that nobody fucking does anymore. And if you're going to do a sci-fi show, hire fucking sci-fi writers.
Science fiction should be viewed in the 1930s and 40s the same way we view the way comics hit for a lot of people in the 1950s and the 1960s. There was a subversive element to being able to, enjoy science fiction. So a lot of the hip people, the hip crowd, the kids who wanted to get something over on mom and dad, you read science fiction because it would have ideas and explore themes. And by the time Hollywood came around to explore that, they weren't all about that. They were about trying to reduce it into its most easily digestible bits. So it's space, ray guns, and robots and women is what they reduced it to. So Star Trek is an amalgamation between what the entertainment industry thought science fiction was and what literary science fiction people actually knew it to be, had written it to be, and you put it together in one show. And we've lost that over time. That's the thing about all the other shows that came after, whether you're talking Next Generation, all of the colon shows, even all the way up to current Star Trek. They've lost that because science fiction was held differently. By the time Next Generation comes along, science fiction isn't really viewed the same way. A lot of people, their introduction to science fiction is whatever Hollywood and the entertainment industry has told you that it was.
Yeah. Now, there was a questionnaire that I posted up there, right there. Tin Man asked if Bradbury ever worked on Star Trek. No, he didn't. Because I got to tell you something. He's not really a sci-fi writer. He is a guy that loves the genre and has dabbled in it. But his science fiction is always the human interest aspect. Mm-hmm. Because he's not a science guy. He wasn't a science geek like Arthur C. Clarke, Isaac Asimov.
He wrote speculative fiction.
Yeah, he wrote exactly speculative fiction. So you would see him on shows like Twilight Zone, but you would not see him on Star Trek. For Star Trek, Roddenberry was looking for the best science fiction writers, the guys that knew sci-fi and could work within it. Now, surprisingly, we never saw Isaac Asimov or Arthur C. Clarke on Star Trek, which would have been neat to have seen it. But he also hired people like Bradbury, who were more known for that kind of storytelling, with Robert Bloch, Matheson. You know, these guys wrote great human drama. And
oh yeah, well, look, half the writers of Star Trek posthumously have awards named for them.
Yeah,
you can't even say that about anybody currently working on Discovery or any of the current new Star Trek. I don't think anybody's going to be naming awards from any of these people. I mean, no. This is what you really. This is the reason why, for me, Star Trek Day, which is more something that was created by Paramount and the suits to help, you know, kind of give the rest of what they created legitimacy, really is and should only be about Star Trek. Because without it, you get nothing else. And no other show has the kind of background and pedigree that this show did. You cannot match it with anything else.
Thanks to CBS.
Today with Star Trek, in my opinion, it's cut and dry. They lost their soul. Okay.
Oh yeah.
With the woke culture, Star Trek's soul has been lost.
Yeah, well, the thing is when Gene Roddenberry was doing it, the woke aspect of it, which woke, when it really is used correctly, is not a bad thing. But it was not the driving force behind what Star Trek was. Mm-hmm. What it was a story. It was a story about a ship, a wagon train in space. Mm-hmm. That's really what it was at its core, and meeting new people each week and blah, blah, blah. Whereas the new series was built on a foundation of woke. And so woke is at the forefront of what it's doing. And that's the turnoff. That's why nobody watches it. That's why when Alex Kurtzman doesn't understand how badly he was hurt when the numbers started coming out, that the viewership was in the thousands at best for Star Trek Discovery. They fucking released it on CBS, and that was a fuck up right there, because then we got actual number ratings on it. And it's like nobody fucking watched it. Nobody fucking watched it, even free.
It is really something that you can easily say that you're never really going to see something like this again, easily. A show that had all of the right elements at the right time with the right people who had the right background to be able to successfully do this. Yeah. And for all of the stuff that has come up over the years, I get that things change, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But for me, being a science fiction fan, if you truly want to understand what science fiction really is and how far behind Hollywood is to the ideas that were being explored in science fiction, and let me give you a hint. A lot of the woke culture, you're about 30 years behind where science fiction really was.
Yeah.
What you think is new now, they were talking about at least 30 to 40 years ago.
Well, exactly.
But Hollywood wasn't ready to hear it, and they didn't have the technology to be able to explore it. Films like The Matrix were pulling, were amazing people, and everybody who read science fiction were laughing about it because that's the kind of storytelling they were doing back in the 50s.
Yep. Now, I put it on the screen for a reason, because I brought it up a few minutes ago, and we strayed off topic, and I want to come back to it. This is why Harlan Ellison was a fucking idiot, because he didn't see how popular the relationship between Bones McCoy, Spock, and Kirk were.
Yeah.
And they became the whole, the trifecta, the holy trinity of Star Trek. The relationship between, and they're the only three actors given lead in the opening titles. The opening titles for original Star Trek is also the way all Star Trek intros should be done. Just the fucking actors, mention Gene Roddenberry, and get on with the fucking show. But now it's every fucking producer wants their fucking jerk off moment to have their name in the opening titles.
Well, they want to be the ones to leave their mark on it. But the thing is that just like with the comic book industry, to leave your mark on it really used to be the fact that people would still have a love for whatever property you have been given the great honor of overseeing in your time of handling that property before you hand it off. It's not so much changing the character so that it's something that's so obvious that you go, I did that. That should not, you should treat it almost like you're trying to commit the perfect crime. If you do your job right, it's not about the fingerprints that you leave. You shouldn't leave any. You should just keep everything going. Keep the whole thing rolling on.
Well, what you're talking about is vanity of the people making it. They want it to feel like them.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I thought I misread your Shatner post.
Oh,
continue. No.
All right. So we need to wrap up.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah,
Gerry. Let me ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, I've been a Star Trek fan since the 70s, and I'm talking about Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
But as great as the original Star Trek was, I would contend that DS9 is battling up there for top position.
Yep.
Yes.
DS9 was... I'm sorry, Keith. Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was agreeing with you, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, and believe it or not, and it gets very little love these days, I loved Enterprise. I loved Enterprise because this was the genesis where supposedly it all... I'm sorry, Gerry?
I said it went back to the Western format.
Right. Now, Voyager was a bucket of shit, in my opinion. Okay.
I hated it.
And
too.
the next gen was so-so. Okay, I'll put it in third, maybe fourth place. But when it comes to one of the greatest, as good as the original was, DS9 is my all-time favorite.
Mine too.
And I'm going to say one thing about it, and which is what I liked about it was Cisco.
Yep,
Cisco,
that's my captain.
When they finally made him a captain, it was dumb. They kept him a commander for so fucking long. He is the single most badass captain after Captain Kirk, because what he did in that one scene when he was on the Reliant and fucking threatened absolute fucking genocide if they did not stop what they were doing. I will wipe everyone out. And even Worf turned and went, "What the fuck did you just say?" Do you remember that? What? Cisco's like, "I will fucking push the button." And they're like, "We surrender." It was like that was the single most badass moment in the history of all Star Trek.
Number 2, it happened to be Cisco punching out Q.
They had so many great characters in there. I gotta tell you, and you're probably gonna make fun of me. I love Quark. Oh my God, Quark! I thought he was one of the best ever.
He was Isaac from Love Boat, because for me, Deep Space Nine was Love Boat for like 2 seasons, and I left. And then somebody, I'm not going to say who it was, Keith Moncrief, said go back and watch the final 3 seasons. And I went back and watched them, and I'm like, holy shit! Why couldn't it always been this good? Because there were 2 seasons where I was just like, it's about who's fucking who's having a relationship. Oh, it's a rendezvous. I also like the relationship between Odo and Quark. That was a great dynamic between those two.
Garrick and Bashir.
That was yeah. Garrick was one of the most complex characters. You never really knew where that
He
guy
ends up
was coming from.
doesn't he? He gets killed.
No.
No.
Oh, what was it? What happened to him then?
He
I don't
stayed
know.
on. He stayed on. He stayed on his home planet.
On Cardassia to put it back together.
Yep.
Okay.
And in the books, he actually becomes the leader of Cardassia.
Oh man, because his character really does remind me of the Andorian on Enterprise that became Archer.
Shran? No.
Shran.
Yeah, they had that same kind of dynamic, and I liked where that was going.
But
Anyway,
more.
I need to thank everybody for watching the show, so I'm going to do this thing here. I'm going to just do this. Captain's Log 2022.5. I want to thank all you guys for being here today. It was so wonderful. The chat, D. Bud Martin, Gap After Dark, Anima Confusa, Sox Bulletins, Monkey Jeebus, Dr. Dragon, Penny, Dork Knight's Bomb, and Dork Knight. Six was here. I was grateful to see her today. Nobody shits on me quite like her. I'm telling you, she really knows how to shit on me. Alex Moore, Dragon Ruse, Kingsport Cal, the Peter Vinkman fan site, Rough Girl, Destiny Captain, Christopher in Carol Magitech Mags, also in the panel, Scribe Light, Mexican Iron Man, we all love you, Mikey, Decepticon's Cave of Villains, Mr. Tickle Trunk. I suppose you expect me, or whatever Goldfinger says. I suppose you expect me to talk. I expect you to die. Anyway, Mr. Tickle Trunk, Zax, Stone Pie Media, Matt Decker. Yes, I just fucking doxed you because you doxed yourself, dumbass. He knows I love him. Retro Nerd Girl, who's new to the channel. LDG Free the Net. Hex Allen Comics, who's a lot of fun to talk to. War Monkey, one of my favorite monkeys. BRB. I'm just kidding. That was just something Magitech wrote in private chat. Pat S., who I hope gets feeling better. He's sick right now. Dragon Bricks, with Dragon here that officially makes us a House of Dragons. Magitech writes again back. Thanks.
Gary. You don't need to read it all literally.
I do it for fun because it's just funny. I do that. Anyway, to me, I don't know if it's funny to anybody else. It's funny to me. And that's all. Bill Barkley from Scotland, the Bat Channel, low spec Linux laptop. Gerry, your mic is sounding very low. Trouble with Tribbles. First Space Pets. Thank you, John. Tin Man. Again, BRB and backed by Magitech Mags. And of course, finally, Baked Bean. Did I get everybody, Martin?
Yes.
And another special shout out to DeForest Kelly. Love that guy. I really do. DeForest Kelly is a great character actor. And I want to thank the panel for being here. My good buddy, Das Wilford.
Gary, just one thing in passing. Bill Shatner outlived the Queen.
You know,
That's true.
I said this, and I really do mean it. I hope he outlives me. I don't want to live in a world without William Shatner. And, but then again, somebody clapped. Scott, I want to thank you for being here, buddy. Magitech Mags, thank you so much for being here. It's the first time you're on the show, and
Thank you, Gerry.
I really feel good about this. Because I would normally feel guilty about popping someone's cherry. I don't feel bad this time. I want to thank Martin for being the right side of my brain and Con in one show. And I want to thank our very good friend, Don Ecker, for being here. Thanks for being on the panel, man. It's deeply appreciated. I want to thank Danny for showing up, Dork Knight. And I want to thank my buddy Chris from Moonlight Productions. And, of course, I want to thank my partner in crime, Keith Moncrief with an H. Thanks for being here, man. Even though you dropped out and then were gone for a while and then came back. It was sort of like, one of those shows where a main character gets into contract negotiations and disappears from the show for a bit. That was you today. And I'm glad that you figured out how to come back. Nobody could see that. It was a glare. Yeah, it's still glary. Yeah, it's something. I don't know what that fucking says. Oh,
Season 1 of Star Trek:
This
The
is
Next
the thing that
Generation.
creeps me
Or
out
Star Trek original series.
Yeah, Keith creeps me up because he likes putting things in the camera lens. Just a perv. Complete fucking yeah. Fucking reach for it, motherfucker. Anyway, he's a BBC.
Oh my.
That's the remastered, right?
Yes, it is.
Remastered, and then there's the remaster baited. And with that, I'm going to once again bid you all a fitted you. And as our good friend Andre would say, and with that, we end our show. Thank you all for being here. Au revoir.